Hello, good afternoon and welcome to TNTV. My name is Awaji Obidaya. I'm sorry we're coming a bit late as scheduled. Today we'll be talking about the position of the Nigerian youth in the society. What is the position of the Nigerian youth? Do you think the Nigerian youth has any place in this society? Today with me in the studio I have Mr. Nsan Eneyo. Mr. Nsan Eneyo is a writer, an author as well, and is currently a research student at the University of Port Harcourt. In 2012, Nsan Eneyo emerged the best debater at the South University's Debate Championship. Thank you very much, Mr. Nsan, for coming to our studios this moment. Today, what we'll be talking about today is we want to find out the position of the youth in the Nigerian society. We know what's going on in the world. We know so many youth out there doing so many great things, and this is just as a result of the opportunities their government have given them to excel. But that is not obtainable in the society in Nigeria. But before we start, first of all, we want to ask you, who is a youth? Who do you think is a youth?
Well, a youth, if we start from the dictionary meaning, a youth has to do with a young person who be above the age of adolescent, between age 18 to age 40. The Nigerian Constitution also didn't actually specify who a youth is, but by activity and association, some organizations regard people within the age bracket of 18 and 40 as a youth. But dictionarily, you say a youth, somebody above the age of a teenager, an adolescent.
Okay, so there's no specific age limit for a youth?
Yeah, conventionally, that's the social arrangement. A youth is between the age of 18, that's the age of, in Nigeria, the age you are allowed to vote and be voted for. So you begin to count a youth from the age of 18, say, to the late 30s, to 40.
Now, according to the African Charter, the African Youth Charter, it says a youth is somebody between the age of 15 to 35. That's what what I read said about who a youth is actually is. But we know what's happening. We have a Ministry of Youth, both at the federal and state level, but there's hardly anywhere you can find youth in position of power. Why is it so hard for Nigerian youth to be in position of power?
Well, if you noticed, I deliberately didn't want to bring in the definition of a youth by African Charter because for obvious reasons, it is obvious that Nigerians don't respect any charter at all. Even the issue of the African Charter and youth, African Charter, Nigerian government, even though it's a signatory to it, does not respect it. So I feel there's no need to begin to define the youth in that direction.
Okay.
And if you look at it, I am not sure that Nigerian government is willing to allow the youth a place in governance. It looks like there is a conspiracy against the Nigerian youth by this same generation of leaders who were leaders from the days of their youth till now, and then there's also a seeming conspiracy against the youth by the youth themselves because of their attitude and their actions.
Okay, you said there is a conspiracy against the youth.
That's what it looks.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you when you said that, that there's a conspiracy against the youth, because the youth are very, very much active in politics. Let me just put it that way. They are very much active, but every time they get themselves involved in politics, they're always pushing to elect an older person into that place. It's not like they are shut out of politics, but they are not putting themselves forward to be elected. What's the problem?
Well, if you look at, nobody didn't put in, it's not true. If you look at Nigeria, the level of Nigerian youth in politics is at the level of thuggery, and let me use the word in Nigerian context, boy level.
Okay.
Because the people who are coming to contest election are the same people who decide to contest election. Even if you go to, for example, in Rivers State, for example, go and check who the various local government chairmen and all that. How many of them are youth? How many of them? Now, generally in the Nigeria, these leaders, the reason why I said this like a conspiracy, these were leaders who were leaders of this country from the day they were youth. Gowon became the head of state when he was about 20, in his 20s.
20s, yeah.
All of them, Murtala Muhammad in his 30s, okay. Many other people in 29, 30, early 30 and all that. They were youth. And they are the same people who are leading us, and they are still leading us till today. And then tomorrow when you go, when you say something, they say, don't worry, you are the future of tomorrow. Which tomorrow? Is it tomorrow that my son will come? They want me to begin to say, is it when my son will come? That's when I begin to argue and say, I'm a youth. When I should have become an adult. I should have become an old man. So when I look at it, when you say Nigerian youths are involved in politics, the involvement in politics is at the level of this same generation of leaders, using them as thugs, as bodyguards, as boys, so to speak. Permit me to use that word. You know, when they use them to do election, to rig election, to carry guns, to carry arms, they abandon them, and then they feel that is not being active in politics, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I would like to draw attention to the youngest minister in the world.
Okay. From
the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
A lady of 22 years. The youngest minister in Nigeria today is 50 years old. That's the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development in Nigeria, Solomon Dalong, is about 53 years. So you can see, so what's the problem? I really want to know what the problem is. Is it that there are no active youths, qualified youths that can take over at least the Ministry of Sports and Youth Development?
Well, I told you earlier, I said it looks like there is a conspiracy against Nigerian youth. You are calling United Arab Emirates. The only person I feel, sorry, people will feel, why are you referring to? In the past administration, when there was a national conference, the youngest delegate to the conference is about 18 years. That's the youngest delegate. And after that, that's the only thing I've seen a young person getting involved in the decision making of this country. And that conference, the report of that conference is not it. Now, if you look at the other day, the Senate was screening 82 years old person as an ambassadorial nominee. The Nigerian problem is not because we don't have competent youth. It's not because we don't have youth who are good enough, who can do something. It's not because, it's because these people have decided that they must rule till they die. And then the youth themselves, they don't want to learn, they don't want to rise up. You know, if you look at it, these people who, if you look at the various activism group in Nigeria from history, the people who started it, they started it when they were youth. But in Nigeria today, if you have any social group, social activism group, now at the end of the day, one politician called them and said, take 1 naira, they will just abandon it and follow. And so the youth themselves are not helping themselves. And then these people are just taking advantage of our, should I use the word gullibility? Or should I use, is it hunger? I don't know. They take advantage of all of these things and say the youths are not even ready to rule themselves. And so they are capitalizing on that.
Okay, we'll come back to more questions, but we'll need to go on a short break right now. Right after this break, we'll be talking about the position of the youth. We'll continue talking about the position of the Nigerian youth in this system. Do you think Nigerian youth can ever grow above the position of being spectators while the elderly ones discuss their business? Stay with us right after this break. We'll be back.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Real Issues, and today we're talking about the position of youth in the Nigerian system. We are all aware that the age for any Nigerian to vote is 18 years, and the Constitution says we have the right to vote and be voted for at the age of 18. But now, the least age, the youngest age for anybody to contest for any elective position in Nigeria, and that is the councillorship position, is 25 years. Mr. Ansan, do you think the Constitution is not in agreement with itself?
The Constitution, with regards to that provision, is contradicting itself. Okay. If you use the word 18 years, the year to vote and be voted for, meaning that by 18 you can contest for any election, you can vote for anybody, somebody can also vote for you. Now when you now see a state assembly or a local government go and make a law and say the age, or another set of constitutional says the age they are going to vote for, you're going to stay and contest election is 25. You now begin to ask yourself, so what were they thinking when they wrote to vote and be voted for at 18? So you now look at this and you begin to wonder. And these are some of the things you begin to think that, oh, in the first instance, the Nigerian society does not believe that a Nigerian youth at age 18 is capable of taking a reasonable decision. That's the implication of that clause. That you said you can vote and be voted for. You come the other way and say 25 years for a councillorship. What is in councillorship? Some people who are even older than that, there are instances of people, you see a councillor, you interview a councillor, and the councillor is avoiding to the interview because he or she may not know the grammar to speak or whatever, I don't know, or the idea. And you see a young a student, a vibrant student who is about 18 plus or so, who is qualified to contest for this because they said it's not up to 25. You will not be able to. So the Nigerian Constitution, in that regard, sorry to say it, I think it's contradictory.
Okay, so moving on, and that's to say the Nigerian, at that age of 18, you can vote, but you cannot be voted for. That's to say the Nigerian Constitution needs review.
Well, yes, Nigerian Constitution needs review, but that is where I will draw your attention to the 2014 National Conference. You know, when you look at this,
which is yet to be implemented.
Which is yet to be implemented. If you look at it, if you look at the report, every of this is like an indirect way of reviewing the Nigerian Constitution.
Yeah.
You know, it really makes it will, if you bring the report and implement it, Nigerian government and governance in Nigeria and the society will be restructured, will be overhauled, and you see things at least moving in the right direction. But at the level of we sitting like this, and the youth sitting like this clause is talking like this, and the other clause is talking another thing, you go to court, you can stay there for centuries and nothing will happen to you.
We had questions about the age of Nigerians raised in the confab.
Questions of age?
Yes.
Well, that's not specific, I'm not sure, it's not true.
So even if that thing is implemented today, it's still not going to affect the age? Because
one of the recommendations is the review of the Constitution.
Okay.
So if that report is implemented, those aspects of the those conflicting aspects of the Constitution, which is going to be subject under review, will be corrected. Okay. So part of the report is that the Nigerian Constitution needs to be reviewed. So if the report is implemented, you discover that these issues will be resolved.
Okay. Now we have Federal Ministry of Youth and we have State Ministries of Youth. What's the essence of these two ministries?
It's to address the issues of unemployment. You know that Nigerian youth are about 50% of the total population by 2006 census figure. Now, they created all these ministries. They created all these ministries because they want to give the youth sense of belonging. They want to attend to the needs of the youth. Unemployment, out of this population, about 70% of them are unemployed or either underemployed. Now, these ministries are created because Nigerian youth want to be addressed. They want to attend to them. They want to give them jobs. They want to give the opportunity to participate in governance. But at the end of the day, these ministries are politicized. Who is the head of federal? Who is the minister for youth and for? Is not a youth. Who is the commissioner for it? Is not a youth. That is the first step to tell us that Nigerian government is sincere about the concern for the youth by creating Ministry of Youth and Sport and all that. You should get a youth, a younger person, somebody within the age of 18 and 35 to head the ministry. I'm not to go and bring, like, I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe the current Minister of Youth and Sport might even be up to 60 or 70 if you're not careful.
He said it's 53.
He said it's 53. That is the official report. We don't know. Now, even if it is 53, 53 is not a youth. So, that is to tell you that Nigerian government creating Ministry of Youth and Sports and Culture, whatever you call it, because you want to address the youth, you want to bring them closer to governance, and then the same ministry is being aided by an older person. How would another person understand the problems of the youth? It's not possible.
The Nigerian youth, do you think they are making any move at all to be recognized in this system we find ourselves? Are we ready to take over position of power?
Now let me say something. If you read Chinua Achebe of blessed memory, Wole Soyinka, when they started writing, they started as young people. Today you have young people who are also writers. The likes of Elon Abdullah, the likes of Adichie. If you go to school today, want to do a research like in the humanities, and you said, I want to pick a book by this. Some lecturers will tell you, no, go and pick books written by Achebe, who is old and is gone, and we have read, there have been thousands of criticisms on these people, and they said, go and bring a book. And then what about the book written by young people? Young people are making effort to, but there is a consistent effort by the Nigerian government to suppress it. That's a typical example.
Yeah, we have so many youth bodies in Nigeria.
Yes.
Most of them set up by the government to address issues concerning the youth. How effective are these bodies?
In the first instance, I will always tell you, I will keep saying, I've always told you, I said the Nigerian government is not sincere.
It's not sincere.
It's not sincere. For every of his policies, he started with, for example, now, say, call the issue of Niger, the Minister of Niger Delta, for example. Niger, you create this ministry and then it's politicized. It started with Niger Delta Basin Authority, Niger Delta Development Board, everything, and then you keep saying and all that. Have you been able to address the problem? If you're sincere, the problem would have been addressed long before now. So all these youth bodies established by the government, if government is sincere, all the problems of the people have been solved by now. Yet the problem keeps increasing by the day. Why? What's the essence of it? It means that it's either you are not serious, or those things were just a mere, you just set them up so that to fulfill all righteousness.
Now you've spoken about the government. From the part of the government is not being sincere about the youth.
Yes.
What about the youth? Are we really working on ourselves to prepare ourselves for tomorrow to take up a position of power?
Well, the young people are doing it, but they are doing their best. They are doing their best. But the issue at hand is somebody that is being suppressed on daily basis. Now, there is hunger, there is unemployment, and the only way is to go and say yes sir to one oga somewhere, a politician. And what do you want them to do? They need food on their table. Some of them are married. There are young people that are here, they are married. And so they have to go and maybe if they join an organization and they want to do something, do one activity, one person called and take 20,000, they will just take and abandon the whole thing and all that.
That's to say the youth are not even ready.
So the youth are part of the problem. Okay. They are part of the problem. But I don't entirely blame them. The reason is, if you're a father and you see your son growing up, even if your son is going astray, you look for a way to make your son go in the right direction. So we are children. Nigerian youth is like a child, or they are children to the Nigerian government. If the Nigerian government is sincere to its responsibility as a father, they would see to it that the youth are properly guided.
Don't you think it's high time the Nigerian youth started taking up challenges of liberating themselves from the shackles of the Nigerian government? Of
course. A friend of mine was telling me that the way politics is going in Rivers State, that young people are going to take up, they are going to be revolution, and so they are going to take up governance. And I told him it's not possible. The reason is, these some people you're talking about, they are selfish, they are greedy, they are not even sincere. All they are about is money. We need to live above our stomach. We need to control ourselves. We need to tell people that we can do without this. We need to begin to realize that it is time for us to rise to occasion. It's not about the money you acquire. It's not about you must not necessarily live your life depending on how much wealth you have acquired. The reason why I say this is because it's not as if money is not good. It is. But when you begin to measure your life, your happiness, your future, everything because of money, then you are duped. If you don't, if the young people don't rise to occasion, the fate of our born children is at stake.
Okay, let's look away from the inability of the Nigerian government to give the youth an opportunity to be leaders, and also insincerity in some parts of the youth. The ones that have taken up position of power, how are they doing? Are they really doing well? The sincere ones we have among ourselves. Because we cannot say all of them are not sincere. There are sincere ones, there are hardworking people, youth who are doing great things. How well have they done in Nigeria?
Well, the young people who have been in position of power have tried their best. They have, but it's like a matchstick in a thick darkness, in a dark room.
Can you mention, like, give an example of anybody you know who is a youth that is doing really well in public service?
In public service, well, the youngest person you would have, the youngest people age you can think of in Nigeria, you know, who have been in position of authority, is somebody, a younger person who is either in the late 30s and 40s. That's like people who are governors. Amechi was Speaker of the State when he was in the 30s, the 40s. Sullivan Chime, otherwise nobody younger than that have been in such exalted position in Nigeria. Maybe I'm not thinking right, maybe I don't have my fact. So these people have done their bit and it's gone.
We're talking about today.
We're talking about today. In terms of we have young people in assembly, House of Assembly all over the place. This Mandela is in the House of Assembly. Every other person in the House of Assembly. But those are limited jurisdiction in the various states, there are various constituencies. So whether he is doing anything in his constituency and may not be able to say anything authoritatively, whether he's not doing well, I may not also be saying anything authoritatively because I'm not in his constituency. I can only say the people in my constituency, and in my constituency, I don't see anybody very young.
In your constituency, oh, this part of the country.
In this part of the country,
especially River State.
River State,
yes.
For example, in my constituency, the person representing us is not an older person, is not also a youth by age, you know, but he's a young person, and he did well. He did well. For example, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, when he was assembly representing Andoni, at least as much as I can remember, nobody has been able to execute constituency project in different communities other than his own community of all the people who have represented us. But he has achieved that truth. He has done, that's the truth we can say. And then other people who are in the assembly are also young people. For example, Farah Dagogo, Ehiye, and all of them. I cannot, like I said, say something authoritatively what they have been able to do in that constituency because I'm not from the anyway constituency.
Okay, you know, one thing is to be in that position, and the other thing is to actually do what is expected of you. That's what I mean, people are looking at the youth. They want to find out, they want to know if these people can actually take up some positions and handle them very well before we relinquish power to them. I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. So maybe they might be looking at the youth, look at what they're doing, and then try to give some of them some opportunities to showcase themselves and be looking at the work they're doing, if actually they can do very well, before they give them an opportunity to serve in a larger scale.
Where would they expect them to serve? The highest place a young person served, for example, universities in student unionism all over the country. The student unionism.
And in government, they can give you special assistance.
In government, I was a personal assistant to the Speaker of the Assembly.
Okay.
I moved away from my appointment for personal reasons. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
But I also know that when I was serving there, I was not involved in any corrupt practices, and I tried to let my boss know that if you give me opportunity, I can do very well. But nobody knows. It's not in the media, it's not in the open. How would they have known that this person? Why don't you? What is wrong with saying this boy is 25 years, this boy is 30 years, make him the governor of the state, and let us see that is when we can measure, we can say, oh, truly a young person has failed us all years. It's not when you go and bring somebody that's 80 years, 70 years to come and become the president of this country and you tell us, don't worry, the youth is not qualified. How do you, even when you want to bring appointment like a minister and all that, like I told you the other time, I said the youngest person in the conference was, and the girl contributed. He was a member of economic committee. Committee on environment. Committee on environment. I am privileged to be close to somebody who is a member of that committee. I said the girl contributed very well. I read their report. She also contributed very well. So now you see that if you give a young person opportunity, they will do very well. But you cannot say all the people in your are just quiet appointments. Quiet appointment. If I didn't mention what I have been, you wouldn't have known. And I didn't want to. I don't like mentioning it because there have not been any significant opportunity to do something that people will see. It's just you have to do it according to instruction.
Okay. So what's the way forward for the Nigerian youth?
The way forward is the youth first. You need to wake up. Keep doing the best you can do. Avoid. I know there is hunger in the land, particularly now. Just try. Do the best you can do. If you're a writer, write. If you're an activist, do it sincerely. A friend of mine called me the other day. Said the Niger Delta youth. I said, my friend, I'm not interested in it. The reason is there are so many youth body in Niger Delta. We have been talking about. I'm a Niger Delta activist. I love talking about the issue of Niger Delta. I believe in the cause till tomorrow. But it's not enough reason to begin to form groups because we want to go and beg money for a politician. So we have to be sincere. If we're activists, we have to be sincere. Then the Nigerian government too should know that the tomorrow they keep telling us, the tomorrow might come even in the next third generation. It might be the tomorrow of my great-grandchild. They should allow young people, let us test the young people. Let us try them. Put them, use a young person and say, this boy is this, make him either a governor, a commissioner, a minister, or even the president of this country. And let us see whether a young person can fail us or not.
Okay. You know, some youth also need orientation. They need to change their mindset, the way they think, the way they do things. Do you have any advice for the youth? What do you expect from them?
Well, like what I expect from them is one, sincerity of purpose.
Okay.
Sincerity of purpose, number one. Number two, self-development. You cannot develop others if you don't develop yourself. What I mean, if, for example, I graduated 2012, there is no job. I finished my NYSC, there is no job. I shouldn't sit back and fold my hands because there is no job. Or the next thing I should think is crime.
Right.
No, it's not. I shouldn't be thinking of crime. I should develop myself. No sponsorship. I said, so if I don't have a scholarship, I shouldn't go and further my education. No, let me go and do my research. I sit down, I keep writing. I've been writing, I've been trying to develop myself so that if I have opportunity, I can develop others. My hope is that my advice to young people is continue to develop yourself, live above personal sentiment. What I mean by that is that this man is your father or your brother and you know he's doing something wrong. You go out there, you're telling the world that what he's doing is right. That's a wrong precedent. You're sending wrong message to people. So we have to make sure that if you are supporting people, we are supporting the right person, we are supporting the right decision. If I'm working with you, for example, and I know that the decision you take is not in the best interest of everybody, rather than begin to glorify that decision, I would rather keep quiet. Otherwise, I will speak against it. I will advise you. This is not right. But for me to sit down and say, oh, don't worry, to be fine, try to look for a way to magnify, to exalt the decision when I know this decision is not nice. And Nigerian youths are they are used to this kind of attitude. You see them telling us that when you tell them now dollar is very high and dollar is 400 naira for example, it's not true, but it's true. And I begin to wonder, is this person normal or not? So we have to live above personal sentiment, and then we have to develop ourselves so that we can develop. You cannot develop anybody, you cannot develop the society if you don't develop yourself. And then let us not think that crime is the only solution to our unemployment or unemployment.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you in our studio talking about the issues affecting the youth in Nigeria especially. Thank you. I look forward to having you some other time in the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our viewers. You've heard everything from my guest today. It's now left for us as the youth. We need to start developing ourselves. We can't just sit down and expect somebody to come call us to be partakers in this government. We need to start working on ourselves, develop ourselves, so that the leaders who are in charge today, we also see something in us that would need them to call on us to take up powers. And we may not need to wait for them to call us to take up powers too. As we're developing ourselves, we need to work towards that position of power that we've always wished for. Thank you very much, and don't forget to join us every Friday at 2 p.m. on Real Issues. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques,
baby.
I've made up my mind for you. No matter